Day of Naming by Varavara Rao, translated by D. Venkat Rao. Can the Empire acquiesce if insurrection makes the vagrant and untitled valiant? Heroes must have lineage. When people of the forest converge, gather mortar, wood, and stone, and build, can this become a saga? History must have foundation. Do you light a lamp on the mountain for the rag-worn, bullet-torn Gonds? Lamps must be lit only for the nobility. Indeed, even if I am queried about their hamlet, what can I say? Making all the towns they departed into the forest womb. If I must account numbers 60 or 13, I can only cite the stars, whereas you can flaunt indemnity lists. Who cut the cord and christened the one delivered and discarded in the forest? Maybe you got them first into the census roll or voter scroll, perhaps eliminated from Adilabad hospital or mopped out with the monument today. These cannot aspire for titles. There, the wood and pit, valley and pinnacle, bird and reptile, water and fire, man and beast, crop from the cleared forest and nest, darkness and light. All of them bear just one name: the forest. The forest is both mother and baby to itself.
Uduasha City, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow, where dancers cavort in forbidden operas, making love to forgetting and flame, where the wealthy play at war with silver swords and silken sashes, where the people mine the dead heart of a burning star for cannonballs and pipework, and where 1,000 secrets hide in a forest of paper and ink. Here, the 5 keybearers reside, the 5 who know the secrets of the broken gates of death. 5 only. There is no 6th spire, forlorn and forgotten in the desert. There is no one who looks to the displaced, the poor and destitute and landless, whose ancestry has been stripped from them by foreign looms and foreign sparkcraft, and no one has ever heard of the House of Ending. But this is their story. Their roots pulled up and burned, they stand in filth up to their necks, and that is precisely why they must keep their heads ever high. Welcome to Uduasha, immigrant. May it fear the name of the house you will build. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about characters with their identities in peril, played by an international cast devoted to fiction-first gaming, collaborative world-building, and complex character drama.
I'm rolling.
Okay.
Boom, 6.
Good. Welcome back, everyone, to Desperate Attune. I am your hostly princeling, and with me, as usual, is my crew of rambunctious rustabouts, starting with Closephine Baker.
Hello, Prince Tony.
Santiago de Chile.
I'm sorry, what? What's going on? Where am I? Who am I?
Yes.
You're in Chile.
Good.
I'm in Chile?
This is the energy we want to bring. We also have Aadiyat, hotmail.com.
How did you know my email address?
He called you a hotmail.
Yes, and finally, Tripitaka.
That is what they call me across the 7 oceans.
Yes. And
What about the
we...
mysterious 8th ocean?
Yes.
We don't talk about that one.
We don't talk about the 8th ocean. Very good. And we are, well, we had a very exciting session last time in which the Kethrisi independence movement was declared. Our little community gathered, and after the death of Ustad Jaiklev, which led inadvertently to the Tower of Stars blossoming and turning into the Tree of Stars, and the motions of the Prince of Endings finally revealed, as possibly a demon prince who has always been here, possibly a literal star fallen from the sky, thrown into the wilderness. We don't quite know, but as this has brought attention to the Kethrisi community, the Rising Moon Sword School has gone from being a criminal gang to an official sword school to now essentially being a political movement. A political and spiritual movement, such as Saeeda has always nurtured it towards being. And there are some interesting tensions within the group between this spiritual side and its more pragmatic political side. But in a basement, in the basement under Morphispie's home, I believe it was Bidrohi declared the, what did you call it? The Kethrisi
Government in exile.
Government in exile, yes. Which
We
is
are
now...
the government. We are the
Yeah.
government of Kethrisi in exile. I think that's what exactly
Yes.
what I said. Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so this is now what our crew... the responsibility that our crew has mantled. And besides this, they have also resolved to finally make a move against the houses that oppressed and destroyed the old Kethris by making an enemy out of the Majesty Bank and the its overseer and enigmatic crime lord Venkatesh Anixis, who is a rival of Munna and a skilled and proficient finagler of financial figures, who has managed to keep his financial crimes secret even from his own house of Anixis.
A fiscal Philistine.
Yes. And I think that's roughly the recap of where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And what we're going to do today is we are going to do some downtime, some
Mhm.
sexy downtime, and also some prep work for how to deal with, well, the two underlying issues of how to finance the government in exile and also how to strike back at Venkatesh Anixis and the financial overlords who caused the collapse of the country. Unfortunately, these two align pretty nicely because you can easily hit at the financiers and finance yourselves through an advanced political process known as stealing.
It's just
I
colonialism.
think you mean. I actually think you mean appropriating for the greater good of
Yes.
the rebellion.
Yeah.
Yes, I do mean that.
Acquisition.
Yes.
for democracy.
Indeed.
Excellent.
So that's where we are. And we will start, as usual, with some downtime. And I believe maybe we will start with the person who announced the government, namely Bidrohi. What is your first order of business as the government?
First order of business as the government. Okay.
No, I'm just laughing.
Okay. So as the newly appointed Sardar of Kethris in exile, the first thing that we have to do is we have to make our intentions known, right?
Yeah.
We have to make our intentions known. We have to get in touch with the gentlemen of Kethris and to tell them essentially, hey, you are no longer the legitimate leaders of Kethris. Sorry, you had to find out like this.
Yep.
And please surrender peacefully, or else, well, you'll have to surrender unpeacefully. Now, you might think that there's an option where you don't surrender at all, but that's where you're wrong.
Yeah. So to reestablish this a little bit, because we haven't talked about it since the beginning of the campaign, really, the gentlemen of Kethris, most of them are basically in Uduasha's pocket. Like, most of them have borrowed money for modernized farming equipment from the Majesty Bank, right?
Yes.
And so the Kethrisi gentlemen have been colonized. The Kethrisi commoners, such as yourselves, have been colonized largely by force, but most of the gentlemen have been colonized through a combination of financial strong-arming and good old-fashioned debt. So
Mhm.
Most of them have very little political power, actually. Most of them are just kind of landowners now who owe people money.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's fine. That's fine. Because what are they going to do? If they had power, they aren't going to give it up. So what's going to happen is, I don't know if this is a downtime or something else. Maybe it can be happening in the course of everything else we're doing, because I imagine it'll take a while, what I want to set in motion. But we have the rookery as one of the crew upgrades, where we
Yeah.
have messenger birds. In this case, we have a vulture. I assume we
Indeed.
have other animals. We are going to Bidrohi is going to pen a letter. Not necessarily solo. He's going to take the lead on this. Other people can contribute and so on. Maybe that'll be an interesting scene. But he's going to pen a letter, essentially outlining the grievances of the Kethrisi people in exile, the farmers,
Yeah.
calling the gentlemen illegitimate leaders of the state, and how the people are going to rise up. There's going to be it is a popular movement. We are going to return, and we are going to set things right. The Kethrisi people shall own Kethris itself. It will no longer be in the pocket of these gentlemen living in their villas in the city itself, because there is a city of Kethris.
Yeah.
But most of Kethris is countryside.
Yeah.
So we're going to pen this letter. Copies of it are going to be sent to the Uduashan newspapers. Most of the birds are going to go to the villages of Kethris.
Yeah.
And of course, some are going to go to the actual gentlemen in their their council. So people will know about it, and people will know the response of the gentleman, which is obviously going to be to say no, and hopefully, it will provoke a situation where their no will reveal their essential powerlessness and the fact that it's actually the Uduashan noble houses who tell them how to jump.
Yeah, I think this is definitely something you can do. It has been established throughout our story that, I mean, Kethris is wildly unstable, right? Like the Shere Katam's rebellion was beaten down, but it was, this was not handled elegantly or well. There are plenty of grudges to reignite. But we are still talking about reigniting the national spirit of an entire country. And so I think we will call this a 12 o'clock long-term project.
Oh, nice.
You can name it what you like, but once this 12 o'clock completes, exactly what you have described will come to pass, which is to say, it will be revealed that the Kethrisi gentleman, essentially the old government of Kethris, is a completely illegitimate puppet of Uduasha. I think this will basically become evident to most people, both in Kethris and Uduasha, that the current Kethrisi government is a sham. What happens from there, we will see. But I think this is a reasonable conclusion of the 12 o'clock. Is it all right with you, or do you want to change anything about that before we start it?
No, that's reasonable. Getting the revolution started. I'm calling the clock "We are one, indivisible, and strong." This is also a deep cut, but not for community.
Very good.
It's possible to cut deeply out of things that are not community tree.
Yes.
Well, you say that. I don't think that's true, but okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm showing you that is possible. So this is actually part of the position effect of this will be to show you that it is possible.
I'm afraid that the effect is not. It doesn't exist. It's less than 0. It is not a number.
I suppose it is a fortune roll, right? Or is it not?
It is a fortune roll in this instance, yes, because you are basically just writing a letter. So there is obviously risk associated with this, but the risk is not inherent in this roll. The risk is inherent in finishing this project and destabilizing a government. So,
Yeah. And then we can see. Maybe I get arrested. But I suppose no one's going to arrest me for sending a letter, because people will be like, haha.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. At this point, before this clock finishes, I don't think anyone takes the threat of a second Kethrisi civil war seriously. So,
okay, so I'm going to roll with command. Would anyone like to get in on this? I suppose it can be a group clock that people could contribute to if they want. But does anyone want to get in on this at this point?
I feel like this is the kind of thing that Saeeda no longer feels as strongly about, on account of having, forgotten that this is the kind of thing that they feel strongly about. So I believe in you, and if you want to do that, that's your right. I'm supporting you morally.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you have any special abilities that apply.
No. Let's fucking go. Oh, do I get any bonus dice? Okay. Well, of course I'm going to get a bonus dice from the man, the myth, the legend himself. The orator par excellence.
Al-Qadar Katam?
Yes.
Yes, sure thing.
Yes. Also, I assume Bidrohi's handwriting is garbage.
Yeah, it's true. You're calling upon a crew contact, and he makes a tremendous amount of sense. I think his main contribution is not handwriting, but just he actually knows people, right? Like he was part of the faction that was trying to negotiate some sort of peace before, which means that he knows the sort of people who can give a thumbs up or thumbs down to this sort of thing.
Okay. Brother, please send it to Hajmullah of the 67 mustaches.
67 mustaches.
Fuck, see?
Is that
terrible idea? Terrible idea to send it to Hajmullah.
Oh my god. It's a 2, a 1, a 2, and then another 2. I just want to tell you that the reason he's called 67 mustaches is that's the number of people he's beheaded and then taken the mustache off of.
Terrible person to get on site first.
Yes, it is one tick, and I think this shows us something, right? And I think that the thing it shows us is just how powerless everyone in Kethris feels at the moment. I think it is the case that Al-Qadar contacts a bunch of people who could be relied upon back in the day, and there is just a general sense of listlessness and hopelessness in Kethris. It's very difficult to get any sort of motion going. And this message is well received, but I think the general mood of the people who receive it is like, well, yes, that's true. Like the landowners are kind of a sham, but we don't really see any alternative at the moment.
This is a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Spotlight can go to someone else, but I'm going to have but I'd like to have a quick scene with Clem at some point.
Okay, I would like to stay on you, and we'll do like all the default downtime actions, and then we can go around and get back to more that we spend coin for, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
So let's go into a scene with Bidrohi and Clem. I just think it's a logical way of structuring the session.
Okay, so I'll say what I want, and then we can figure out how it can be done or wherever you can be found. Clem?
Yeah, sounds good.
I want the flag. I want the flag, and I want to send it to Kethris. To Moss.
The flag that we put over the Jazidal cheese?
Yes, the one that Clem made. You still have it?
That's the question.
I assume it's hanging over the Jazidal cheese.
Why would it still be there?
Because we said it was a high place, right?
Yeah, but that was months ago.
All right. What, someone? Right.
Yeah. I mean, would Mushfiq has taken it down?
It's up to you where the flag is. It's your flag. You can put it anywhere you like, including over Jasper's house, because I think we established that you sort of legally own Jasper's house. Kind of. There are some asterisks, but yeah.
But
I think we did. You're right.
Yeah, but I assume having the flag up there would be too provocative at this point. So it probably has been taken down and left somewhere. And if it's not with Clem, that's fine. But I'd still like to speak with Clem, so maybe it makes the most sense for you to have it anyway. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Perhaps, I think maybe it's been stored with Woots in the forge then, and it wasn't taken with the rest of Clem's belongings when they were forcibly moved from there.
All right. So I think I would have told you that I'd like to have it, and maybe, I don't know, maybe we can frame a scene where we are at Woots's to get it back.
Yep, that works.
Yeah. Could you remind me what the flag looks like?
Oh, we never really defined it. There's elements of it.
The tree. Have we all forgotten what the flag of our nation looks like?
There was a tree. There was definitely a tree on it.
Yes.
There
There was a tree on it.
There were stars.
Was
Mhm.
there a sun or something to the trees?
A
Was that a
moon
thing?
through the
Moon.
trees.
Moon,
Let
moon, yeah.
me-
Like a crescent sword moon thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. Sickles and bananas that the people used in harvest. The sea and the stars and the blue light of the trees.
Mm.
Yeah.
And Saeeda just said some philosophical stuff about how the Sublime Republic does not represent the people.
Mm.
I have no comment regarding this because, as you know, I mostly disavow that stuff now.
Yes,
Yes.
we're going to have a scene where we're like,
detoxing.
hey, Saeeda, how about having a personality?
Yeah.
And I'm like, personalities for bitches, man.
I'm rage pilled and
Yes.
Yeah.
swift maxed.
I think, it will be interesting to see this from Saeeda, because Saeeda has sacrificed some very important part of themselves to bring about the Prince of Endings, right? And as a side note, this is exactly what Jaiklev was trying to prevent. Also, he was trying to prevent your self-destruction. So, yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. There's always a new self to acquire. Anyway.
Yeah.
But it's not about this yet. So
Yes,
we're looking
anyway,
at this.
the
We're looking
flag.
at this tapestry, yeah.
Yes. The flag is a blue glowing tree surrounded by stars and what are either sickles, crescent moons, or bananas. It's a little like it can be all of these things, but they're roughly that sort of shape.
What this reminds me of, and this is, well, it's not a deep cut, but it's pretty nerdy, I suppose, is when Arwen stitches up the flag of the king for Aragorn, sends it to him.
Oh my god. You're right. That is pretty nerdy.
Yeah. It's got some of the same iconography as well. Yeah, so I think, it's a beautiful flag, right, Clem?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably so. I mean, it's not amateur hour.
Mm-hmm. And I think I'm looking at it and I say, I would like to send this to my sister Moss in Kethris, because the people of Kethris should see that there is a flag now. Something that has nothing to do with the Sublime Republic and its gentlemen. She's the one that I would trust the most to have possession of the flag. It's a dangerous object for them over there. But she can keep it safe and she will know exactly when and how to use it. May I have it for this purpose?
Of course. It's not mine to keep. It's not.
But it was yours to
mine.
make.
Anyone could have done what I did. It's not exactly hard, putting needle to fabric. But thank you. You should take it.
Yeah.
It was your input.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that it's pretty obvious to anyone, even someone who's not a skilled needle worker or knows much about fabrics and so on, that not anyone with a needle and thread could have done this work, right?
I know, even if they could have, only one person did.
Yeah, but like it's a technical part of what I'm aiming at with this scene is that it's very technically accomplished, right? And quite a complex design.
I mean,
Yeah.
Clem is accomplished at heraldry with skills at that are very rare, if nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I'm looking at it and I'm taking it gratefully, of course, and then I say, but this is just the one design, the masterwork. And a nation needs more than one flag, more than one copy of the flag. And this is a magnificent design. But how will the children on the streets with their little chalks drawing it on the brick walls, how can they replicate? Is it possible, do you think, Sibling Clem, to pare the design down into something simple, more just purely iconic, something that, as I say, even a child can reproduce? Something that, no matter how skilled you are, if you have the needle and thread, you can put it together and raise the flag of Kethris in any village in Kethris.
I think at this, Clem, there's gears whirring behind Clem's eyes as they are considering it, and it's a complex design, and well, it would take a while, but I like this challenge that you set. I'd like to think myself equal to it.
Then, what I will ask you, Sibling Clem, as our sibling and our ally, as a friend of the Kethrisi, is to create a simple version of this, as simple as possible, with the same symbols somehow, simple as possible. And we take this simple flag, and you make 2 copies. One we send with this magnificent one to Kethris. The other we keep and we teach. We teach everyone.
Well, I suppose I should write up an invoice. Something of those words. But I'm having you on. A friend of the Kethris.
No, of course. But it is, you raise a good point. If we want our flag replicated, we need to be able to give people needle and thread. It's a good point. Oh wow, governments require like departments and so on. I'll have to talk to Al-Qadir, sir.
Why do you think we've set up a goddamn community centre? There's people who can. There's a facility, there's a space for them to learn.
We'll set up a fund for it.
Exactly.
We have to set up actual funds now. Not just walking up to Pilot and being like, Pilot, can I have money? I bought some biscuits the other day.
You've read all those business manuals? Any advice in there?
I'm sorry to say, Sibling, but the people in these businesses, they're all about exploiting people. They're all about exploiting people, and it's pretty funny to read. It's good to know what to avoid, but not much actual advice there about community and building and so on. I suppose there's some ideas about accounting. I could buy some ledgers. And talk to Ustad Saeeda about building community. They're very good at that, right? Speaking of, they're being a bit funny lately, aren't they? And when I say funny, I don't mean haha funny. Like the opposite of that, actually.
Completely, yes. I noticed something went down at the well. I'm not sure what she sacrificed. But I don't think it was worth it.
With all the respect and love to your sibling, the way she talks now kind of reminds me of the way you talk. Very, stoic and reserved and so on. Which is cool. Which is cool and badass from you. And I suppose could potentially also be cool and badass from Saeeda, for Musta Saeeda. Except, that's not who she is.
Well, it's who she is now. There's no going back from whatever she did there.
Maybe with some japes and tricks and amusing anecdotes, I can stimulate her old personality back. I shall put this on the top of my agenda. So Tree,
that's definitely going to work. Yeah.
Get ready for that. We're going to have a slapstick night out.
Good.
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Right after I. So this thing with the flag, it should obviously still be contributing to the clock that I started. Is it like two separate ones to kind of like send Moss the flag, see what happens there, and then I don't know, something else with the flag, or should it just be one action?
I think it can be one or two actions. The way I understand it is like Clem designing a new flag is probably some sort of tinker action from Clem.
Yep.
So that can be one thing. And you can give Clem your extra downtime action for the purpose of doing this if you wish. I think that this is the more relevant action. I don't think sending it is necessarily a roll, although it can be.
Okay.
I think if you want it to be two rolls, if you want to work on this twice, then I think it's a tinker roll to design the flag, and then as you mentioned, funding the production of more flags is just straight up a lifestyle or tier roll.
Okay.
And I think those are the same for you, even because of your special ability. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I have transferred my clock to the crew sheet because I think this is a crew concern.
Sure.
May I invite Clem to use the downtime action on this? Would you like me to?
Can. No, I can
lend
use
you one of mine?
No, I can use one of my downtime actions.
Okay.
Okay, so then it's Clem tinkers with a flag, and then Bidrohi makes a funding roll to make many flags after that.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Let's see. I'm happy to assist Clem. I'm assisting Clem in making the flags. I think that made sense.
Yeah. Sounds good. Let's see.
Okay.
That's
2 ticks. So 5.
So you rolled a 5, a 4, and a 2, and a 2. So that's 2 more ticks. We now have 3 ticks towards this 12 clock of we are one, indivisible, and strong.
And I am a river to my people. You can make lifestyle rolls with tier as long as your lifestyle remains here. You can increased effect to all rolls made with lifestyle tier when interacting with friendly factions, which is exactly what I'm going to do.
You are indeed interacting with a friendly faction. So this is kind of fascinating because you are spending quite a lot of money here, but it's not Bidrohi's own money. This is basically just getting the community together. And I guess what we learn from, like, now we see a river to my people in effect, right? Which is that Bidrohi is an extremely effective fundraiser.
It's
actually,
yeah. I'm all over the place. In fact, that gives me an idea for what I'm going to do with my other downtime action. I think we'll get to that in a bit. But
let's see this roll first.
Oh, it's a 6.
It's a 6, so that becomes a critical hit because of your
river to my people.
Of a river to my people. Yeah. So in fact, it's 5 ticks. So yeah, you do some extremely effective fundraising. Tell us what that looks like.
3, 4, 5. Okay, so just to be clear, we're 4 ticks away. So that's really nice. Yeah. So we have the design. It's all the same elements. You know, there's the tree, there's the star, banana, crescent things, right? Sword, banana, crescent things, the stars and all that. Probably some words from Saeeda, right? What are they, by the way?
What is a good mod? Wow. From many roots, a single tree.
Let me write that down.
Yeah.
Many roots, a single tree. Right. So so we have the simple flag, and at first, we put it to the community center where there's Nidham classing and so on to kind of like reproduce this. And it's not much, it's not a huge increase in the budget to supply like the cloth and so on for this. But I think where things go really interesting is we secure some. Prince, you can tell me if this is legit or not. We secure some Vanta Black, from some of that Vanta Black cloth, the Shadow Silk.
Ah, yes.
I was going to say from Lord Anish, but no, not from him. Okay.
Well,
he's my friend.
He supplies and controls that shit now. Like, he runs the fashion police.
Yeah, and we're friends.
So yes, you can secure some Shadow Silk, although I think you will have to lie about what you want it for, because I doubt he would approve using it for patriotic means. But I think the reasonable way that this works out is that he is still a patron of the arts. So I think if you bullshit him about putting on a play and needing it for costumes or something like that, then you can procure some amount of Shadow Silk.
Yeah, just a bit. And I think what we do with this Shadow Silk is that we we pass it around in like I think we have a montage of it being shown by Kethrisi people, maybe Alkadir, maybe myself here and there, where we show it to not just the Kethrisi, but to the people of Uduasha. And we hint that this is the answer, that Kethrisi independence is the answer to whatever the hell is going on with this whatever the hell was going on with that gigantic ass tree that suddenly emerged.
Yeah.
And this opens up a new source of funding.
Yeah.
From the many superstitious people. Well, I say superstitious as though this is an illogical reaction. From the many occultly inclined and sensitive people of Uduasha who are like, new god.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, the Tower of Stars does strange things once in a while, but this is by far the strangest thing it's done in a really long time. So it makes sense.
This seems like a legitimate answer.
Yeah.
And in fact, it is. We aren't even lying. So that's part of how we secure more funding for the people, for the cause.
Very good. So there is like a spiritual and political awakening going on. Uduasha stirs, and as you pass around this symbology, many of the occultly inclined begin to awaken to this possibility that maybe this does have something to do with Kethris, and maybe there is something to the symbology of the trees. And yeah. In short, people are quite willing to talk about this, and perhaps it's not as much the attention as the materials you send, but people begin to make flags within the Kethrisi community here, and also way out east. Like, this is catching on.
Yeah. And I think even like Uduashans are making it because it's like it's also the symbol of an awakening god.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Clem. Yeah. So obviously there's one more downtime action I have. Yes, I do. And of course there's still more ticks on here, but I'd like to pass the spotlight on.
Okay. Does anyone know what they want to do next? Then we can pick it up from there.
I do. So we know 4 of the names, and we'll require 5 if he is to awaken.
Yes, although I will point out that the 5th name may or may not kill you.
There's no may nots about it. It's gonna happen. And we should be so lucky if that death is nothing but, oh no, Saeeda's off into the great beyond. So I think that what Saeeda is sure of, ultimately, is that whatever it is that I sacrificed, I trust myself, and it must have been worth it. So I would like to start a long-term project to speak the 5th and final name of the Prince of Endings.
Yes.
And I have a special ability that means that I can put 2 ticks into any project that has to do with investigation or studying the name of a god.
Yes.
So I am going to, I presume it's a 12 clock, because the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, they usually have been, yes. And this is a 12 clock that, when finished, will do permanent and irreparable harm to your character. Just to make that clear.
Yes, indeed. For now, I just played with the last name, but, we can figure it out. And I've put 2 ticks on it. And what I am doing is that So the first name, which was given to us by history. The second was the king of beginnings, Bidrohi. Third, what was the third?
Sirius.
Sirius. Yeah.
Yes.
The Shining One. The fourth, of course, Salman, the king of lies. And so now we come to the fifth. And I think what Saeeda is going to do is study. And what Saeeda will do is study the death of Samum. Because if they are going to do anything, if they're going to understand in any way what is occurring, then it will require understanding the powers that Samum, that like caused Samum's death.
Yeah.
And
okay.
yeah, I can't get anywhere near the crime scene because it's in the tower. But yeah, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. I think what this I have a venue for you to study this actually. Remember how we have this book bound in blue leather that belongs
we
to
do.
the
You're right.
Blue Smoke Troop, which contains a number of tragic love stories from Uduashan history, including records of tragic love stories that have not yet happened. I think that you can read the opera about Samum therein and study it in this fashion.
Excellent. Yeah.
So you can read the prophecy about the thing that you have already done and thereby learn more intelligence about what actually happened.
Yes.
Which is a very funny way to go about it. But
yeah. I mean, like, if you're reading a prophecy about something you've done, it's history, okay? And therefore not weird. Definitely that's how that works. So yeah, I'm gonna go to the leader of the Blue Smoke Troop. I'm gonna ask for access. And I'm gonna spend some time studying.
Yeah, you have had access to this book before. The troop trusts you, so I don't think there's any challenge to that. And I think you can take a +1 to your roll from using a crew contact to represent this book.
Makes sense.
The +1 die.
Yeah, great, fantastic. So I have 2 dice in study. +1 is 3. I'm trying to figure out whether there is anything, but I don't think there is. I will simply roll my 3 dice in study. And yeah, I feel like this is it's a 6. I rolled 5 dice somehow, but the third die is a 6, so it should still be fine.
Yeah. So it's 3. It is 3 ticks, and you may spend a coin.
I'm going to spend a coin to make it 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And
so
what has
7
happened?
Ticks. Yep.
And what has happened here is that I have, like, I think what it is I technically am not allowed to remove the book from where it is, right? So what I've done is that I spent quite a lot of money, I spent 1 coin worth of money on supplies, maybe like a sleeping bag. I'm just like in this room, determined to figure this out.
Yes. And so, what you read in this book is the story of Samum's love for you, and how, despite Samum being an immortal demon, this love would doom it and destroy it and unmake it. For such is the nature of demons. Such is the nature of the demonic world, that they destroy what they love, or else are destroyed by it. And this...
Oh, or else are destroyed by it?
Yes.
Oh.
And this is the secret of the last name of the Prince of Endings, because you realize this is a fundamental truth of demonic entities. They destroy what they love, or they are destroyed by it. The last name of the prince will be to speak the Prince of Endings' love for the nation of Ketris.
Oh, God. Yes. Okay, great. Fantastic. I am writing this down. The last name of the prince will be the name of its love for Ketris.
Yes, which is, I will remind you, what you sacrifice to it. You sacrifice the memory of your mothers and your own love for Ketris and this now burns within a demon. But a demon destroys what it loves, or else is destroyed by it.
Is destroyed by it. And of course, now that this has been deleted from me, though I understand intellectually, absolutely that it is very bad, or like is fundamentally like profound. Emotionally, I'm like, well, that's a cost I have to pay, rather than it being so abhorrent to me that I would never do this. Right. Great. Very good. In that case, the second downtime action I'm going to do is I have a level 1 harm called Well Heatsink, which I would like to solve.
Okay.
And I'm going to go to Arin and be like, it's really weird. Whenever I walk past a fire, the fire appears to be like somehow drawn to me. And more than once this week, I've nearly burned myself.
Yeah. And while, to the people of Udwasha, this is a deeply spiritual thing. To be attuned to the wellfire basically makes you a holy person, right? Like this is, in the local religion, this absolutely makes you like a tremendously great ascended spiritual leader. And Arin just rubs the bridge of his nose and he says, "Oh my word. Very well, I will leech the excess phlogiston out of you."
Yes, great.
And then he will install those. Then he will put those little like cups on you that you use for like cupping out blood. Yes, except in this case they sort of burn off the excess phlogiston, like how you burn off excess natural gas at an oil well. This is what it will look like.
Fantastic. Okay. So we roll tier. We roll his tier
plus 1,
right? So like tier plus
tier
1.
Plus 1.
And it's tier. It's tier plus 2 because we're anointed, and apparently the Prince of Endings is looking out for me.
So it's 4 dice to have the excess phlogiston in your body burned off.
Yeah, this is great. This is so good. And I rolled a 6.
It's a 6, so it's 3 ticks.
Fully healed. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. It's very
I
effective.
always have 1 tick filled in. Yeah, and I think apparently not only do we know that phlogiston exists, but also that Arin is really good at this.
Yes.
And so when this is done, I kind of like stand up, experimentally hold my hand towards like a candle in the corner and like realize there's nothing happening, and I'm just like, oh, thanks very much. That was troubling me, but I'm glad that it's finished.
Yes, you're quite welcome. I'm not.
Indeed.
I am curious about how you ended up with such a condition, but I have a feeling it is better not to ask.
Has Arin noticed that Saeeda is now normal?
I think he has, which is also why he's like, I am curious how you ended up with such a condition, right? But
maybe he's like, good. Finally.
Maybe. Although I think it unsettles him. It's
as it should. Yeah. I think I kind of just nod and say, well, I'll pass your regards on to Clementine then. Seems like Clementine and Mushfiq are. What is the correct way to put this? They are dallying. They're engaging in a dalliance.
I cannot express to you, Tree, how many times in the 2 weeks that I hung out with Salty, we discussed how much we hate normal Saeeda.
Yeah.
Yeah. He freezes a moment and he says, "Dalliance? Really? Well, far be it from me to try. But now I suppose I am, because you brought it up with me. Well, and this is related to your condition. How exactly?"
Oh no, I just assumed it has not escaped my notice that you might well be dallying yourself, and I'm sorry if I overstepped. I presumed that it might be important for you to know. If it's not, then I apologize.
Yes. Thank you very much for venting out all the phlogiston into my shop, and then also venting out all of this information and making a mess of my emotional state. Yes, that's what I needed.
I apologize. I am generally of the opinion that more truth is better. And I did not want you to feel like we'd been keeping this from you, or at least I hadn't been keeping this from you. You understand that I value you highly for your expertise and your skill. Not to mention your bedside manner.
Good to you. This is the weirdest Saeeda has ever been in all the time he's known you.
Normal Saeeda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, well, I apologize. We can just forget this.
Mhm.
I
Yes.
have some studying to do. I will get back to that. Remember, from many roots, a single tree.
Yeah. Yes. It is quite the catchy slogan, he says. And then I suppose you leave, and we see the camera linger a bit on Arin as he sits down in his medical workshop, trying to take in and process everything that's going on. And he very slowly pours himself a drink. And yeah.
As not Saeeda, as me, I think it is important that somebody at some point had to tell him. Like, it seems quite bad that nobody did. But yes. You're right.
Also, normal Saeeda is also unsettling me, so please go on and finish this project of the last name, because I'm very hyped for what will happen when you do.
Indeed. Yeah, it's going to happen. Don't worry. I do have one more coin, which I'm going to use, but I also have an advance, I noticed, which I have not used yet. And I'm so tempted. Listeners, this is not how to play Blades in the Dark. It's very bad for you. I'm so tempted to take an ability called Death. You are going to die.
Hey, don't do that.
Yes. You may, you may take... You are going to need a new ability when this clock finishes. I will tell you that much. So
Indeed, yes.
But you may...
Don't do that.
I think it's kosher for you to spend XP to take a special ability to just finish this clock if you want to play it that way.
Oh, interesting. No, I think I'll think about it, because I think there is something else here that I could do with this ability that might intersect, interestingly.
Sure. Do you want to take your second downtime action, or your next downtime action now? Or do you want to wait?
Yeah. In fact, you know what? I decided that what I'm going to do, which is, as you say, the name is It's Love for Kethris in some fashion. And I am going to... I have one die in consort, huh? Yeah, it's worth it. I am going to call my crew for dinner. But not in my house, because I don't know how to do that. It's going to be in Moonlit's guest house, because that's where it would be fine. Because if there is anything that is going to help me understand, or rather, like, crystallize this, I understand it well enough. It is understanding their love for Kethris also.
Very good.
So yeah.
So we gather everyone over a meal in Moonlit's guest house once again.
Yes.
But before we do that, is this going to be fairly climactic? Because there was a scene I wanted to have before that might make more sense if it's climactic.
I mean, I think it depends on how well I roll, but I think it's. Let's do your scene first in any case, because I don't know what the scene that I'm going to do is going to be like exactly in any case. So
okay. I think there's a nice scene that I wanted to do, and I think it would make sense for Mushfiq to be there.
Yes.
Good.
Okay. So I would like to frame this scene in the house of the Kethrisi notable Begum Kushmi Jamidar.
Okay.
Whom we'll remember is a dispossessed landowner.
Yes. And is this one of the 3 people who led the community before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who I guess still do. Because our thing is a separate thing, which I guess we'll... I mean, we haven't... partly this might be to like discuss like how we can like work together.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I'm interested in finding out how she became dispossessed.
Okay.
Yeah. And not to, to already discuss what the thing's going to be about, but maybe it will help with the sense of direction. I want to talk to her not just about how she got dispossessed, but about if it is possible to actually get the landowners on side.
Yep. Yes, sure.
At all.
So we are meeting at her home in Uduasha.
Yeah.
Which is, I think her situation, as with many dispossessed, I think she was very wealthy before she was dispossessed, right?
Mhm.
And so I think her home, we have not established yet her home. You constantly met outside and so on, but this is her home. I think where she lives is, there are hotels in the hospitality ghetto. Before it became quite the ghetto it is, it was just a place for people to stay. And so she has this classical noble in exile setup of she just permanently rents the penthouse apartment of a hotel. But it's a fairly run-down hotel, so it's this weird combination of like it's a technically quite a luxurious lifestyle, but it is in like a bug-ridden hotel with worn-out carpets and faded curtains and cigarette smoke clinging to the walls. That kind of feeling.
I like to imagine that she doesn't pay because why would she?
Yeah.
Which is essentially she's allowed to squat there for free by a very sympathetic hotelier who's probably going to see himself.
Yes. Yeah, this is the situation. And so her lifestyle is a strange combination of luxury and decay in this sense, because this hotel is like going out of business, and all that she or the owner of the hotel can really do is slowly stave off the inevitable.
I read this account once of this penniless Indian royal, like after independence, and he would dress in like a fancy suit, and he would go down to the coffee club, and he would always have a coffee every day. And at home, he used to live in this really run-down little garret where his possessions were an iron and a wash basin for his clothes and his shoes. And he died of starvation.
Yeah.
But he always made sure to be down there at the coffee house every day, ordering a coffee and reading the newspaper in this nice suit.
Yeah, this is basically the sort of lifestyle she leads, I think.
Yeah. I assume that whatever she's putting out for us to enjoy, or like whatever kind of like sweets she's putting out, is a significant portion of her. I don't know what her income is. I think maybe she's like being supported by people.
Yeah, I think she's largely being supported by people. She has family members who work, but she is too fancy to work herself. Yeah. So she's being supported in this way. And I think the treats that she puts out for you, partly because it is cheap and also because it still is elegant, is she does not actually provide you with anything except smokes. So she puts out cigarettes and such for you, which is a kind of like, maybe a hookah, which is one of those, like, it is a way to provide you with some fancy luxury that doesn't actually cost her a lot because she skimps on the actual things to burn. So you're mostly smoking coals in the hookah, but there is some flavor there as well.
Rosewater hookah. Rosewater coals, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't do hookah. I have no idea what's going on. So I think obviously one of the things that Bidrohi has been doing is supplementing her income massively. Now she's almost comfortable.
Yeah.
But there's only so much that Bidrohi can do for her. She's just one other person, even if she's important. And I think there's a certain controversy surrounding her because she is a former landowner.
Yeah.
And some people are like, well, why should we fund that? Why should we fund this la-di-da lifestyle? Why should she be treated differently? Why should we still kind of like treat her as a noble?
Yeah.
When she's down here in the dirt with us.
Yeah.
And the reason we're down in the dirt is because of people like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's still complicated because, I mean, I don't know. I think South Asians will understand this. There's a sort of like sense of like respect and so on that you give.
Yeah.
Based on some sort of aristocracy or something.
Yeah. And so she has been smoking with you for a time and is lounging and generally relaxed and being as pleasant with you as she can.
Yeah. So she knows about the Declaration of Independence, essentially. She knows about the flags and all that.
Yes, she is aware of the political changes coming.
I think we're having a conversation, and I think Bidrohi is waiting for her to broach the subject.
Yes. All right. So then we will begin the scene as she sets down the hookah and she looks out the window down at the hospitality ghetto, and she turns her head and she just asks, apropos of nothing, kind of, will it still be called the Sublime Republic, or are you coming up with another name?
Why was it called the Sublime Republic anyway?
Oh, she sighs and she says, "Well, because it was in theory Republic of the Gentleman, and hence sublime. I don't think it was very much more complicated than that."
But that's not where it's going to be now, right? Wouldn't
No.
make sense.
No, but I rather like the name, so if it's all the same to you, I would like if you kept it.
It is a beautiful name. I think Bidrohi kind of like also looks out. We're all not, I guess, on the balcony. I guess one of the reasons this is a nice hotel still considered to be is that it is a good view.
Yeah.
There's still not a lot of construction to obstruct its view. So I think we're looking out. Sublime Republic is a very beautiful name, I think. And I think there's still a sense in which it can still be true. Because why would a Republic of the people, for the people, something that is truly owned by everyone, isn't an empire, isn't noble houses, isn't like those clans and those knights and whatever they have in Severos. There's nowhere else that has really properly tried this that we still know of, right? Why shouldn't there be? Yes, there can be a Republic of the People, and that was be sublime. But I think changes in names are more than just the names themselves. They represent that a shift has occurred, that something has changed. That's why I think even though the name is beautiful, and perhaps we can still keep it in honor in the history books, if we succeed, makes sense for the name to change. I've been thinking about this.
You're starting to sound like Saeeda, Bidrohi. She points out, talking about the power in names.
Yeah, I think he stops himself for a moment as he suddenly remembers Saeeda and seems worried. And he gives her a sidelong look, and also at Mushfiq to see, like, firstly, I guess, to see like if she's noticed a change in Saeeda and what Mushfiq has to say about like sounding like Saeeda.
Yeah, I think she hasn't spent a lot of time with Saeeda since the change. Like, it happened relatively recently, so.
But I guess rumors are circulating because Saeeda's now very different.
Yeah, rumors have reached her, but I think she considers them unsubstantiated. What about Mushfiq?
Yeah, how is he acting as well? Now that you're in a landowner's house as well.
I don't think Mushfiq likes this at all. And you said we are supporting this person?
Yeah.
Why?
Because she's an old woman. She's a penniless old woman.
Yeah, she's popular among the Kettracy for being considered one of the good ones of the landowners, pretty much. But I mean, this is, of course, not universally accepted through the Kettracy community, so Mushfiq might certainly have other opinions. But there are, like, conservative, old-fashioned Kettracy who just think that a gentleman oughtn't have to work, especially not such an esteemed old lady,
And there are some others who would be like, old people who can't work probably should just get money anyway.
The only good landowner is a dead one, and he draws a sword. No, he doesn't.
Don't worry, just wait 5 years, it'll happen by itself.
This is perhaps the other reason why the community, even those who dislike the landowners, still support her. It is a problem that will sort of take care of itself.
I think Mushfiq is in that boat then, Like, it's like he doesn't like it, like, like that we have to do this, but it's but it'd be wrong. Like it'd feel wrong not to support an old lady. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. Just grumbling in the background, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Then I think Bidrohi says, unless Mushfiq had something to say.
Not particularly. I don't think so. Not right now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bidrohi says, considered calling it the new name, the People's Republic, instead of the Sublime Republic. But I don't know. There's something about like that name that because a republic should be like, representing everyone anyway, right? And like if you call it People's Republic, then that feels like we are protesting too much. And also like if we go from Sublime Republic to Republic, I feel like if we don't replace Sublime with another word, then it's just this is the Republic that should have existed all along. You understand? I feel like that's important, not that we are replacing. There is a historical continuity, but we aren't just changing the word for something else. That something now is changing more deeper.
Yes, I see the value in the symbolism. The flag, a name. These things matter. You are talking to someone whose entire life has been based on her name, after all. I understand very well the significance of them.
And I don't think, there's stories circulating. And now I think I look at Mushfiq as well. There's stories and so on circulating about how you ended up here instead of staying in Kethris and what I assume was a nice, big, fancy mansion. How you ended up here amongst here with us. Not to find a point on it, Begum. But here amongst the peasants who used to give you tithes, whose backs your forefathers used to whip for not giving enough tithes. And now, well, again, not to find a point on it, but we look after you now. Whereas I believe back in the day, the gentlemen used to say that they looked after us, even though we fed them. Why are you here? How did it happen?
Well, a great many things have turned upside down, but there's nothing so strange about it, really. My family was too proud to take the deals offered to us by the Akarosi. There would be no farming equipment, there would be no modern sparkcraft, there would be tradition and adherence to the old ways and worship of the ancestors and all of that. And then we went out of business.
You're the only one, at least that I know about, like this here. But that can't be true. It can't just be you who stood up for the old ways, who stood up to Akaros and didn't want to change.
Oh no, there are plenty. The insidious thing is, we expected war. My family girded themselves against it. Expected assassins, invaders, people trying to displace us from our land. We thought this would be a glorious and heroic struggle. Instead, it was just bankruptcy, as the Akarosi farms sold their produce, and we did not. It was as simple as that. It's a very mundane story and one that happened to many others. You're quite right.
But some people fought. And here, look at Mushfiq.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
some people did.
Sorry. Is there anything particular that you're looking for here from Mushfiq?
I'm interested in your reactions to all of this, actually. If you want to jump in, you can, but it's perfectly
Okay.
in character for you to not say anything as well. But I think it's important that you be here.
Yeah. Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
And then I think Bidrohi says, and you know we want to start the fight again.
I do. Well, no, that's not quite right, actually. You're not starting the fight again. You're starting a new fight altogether. Whatever you're fighting for, it's not going to be the old ways that my mother and my husband adhered to. You're not fighting for the preservation of the Sublime Republic.
Mushfiq Bhai, what did you fight for?
I don't think I ever fought for the preservation of the Sublime Republic. I think he thinks about this for a while and he goes, to be honest, the more I think about it, further I get from that time, less sure I am. I fought for the people that I knew, and they fought for the people that they knew, and maybe in some way that was fighting for the Sublime Republic, but I don't know. I fought because I knew that I had to, and I still know that now. What comes off it, whether that's the Sublime Republic, whether it's the People's Republic, whatever it is, whatever you call it, and however it's structured, that I don't know, that I can't say. But I just know that we have to give our people a chance.
Bidrohi, I think, smokes his hookah a bit more.
Yeah.
And then I think almost as though realizing this for himself. Maybe it's not the most politic thing to say. So he's not like needling. He just says it out loud because it just hit him. It feels to me like when you, Mushfiq Bhai, were fighting for the people next to you and their interests. And when the Begum and her family prepared themselves to defend the Sublime Republic, they were also fighting for themselves and the interests of their friends and families. And there is a tragedy in that these interests were not in alignment.
No?
Because everyone fought for Kethris, right? Some version of Kethris. And right now, we want to fight for Kethris, but who am I fighting for? I'm not there. How can we, if we're all going to fight for the people next to each other, that's such a small radius, that's such a small circle. How can we win against an empire that guards the whole world? We need to have something that unites everyone. I think
you're right.
Yeah.
A bit. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. No, you're right. And that's exactly how it all fell apart. As each faction, we stabbed each other in the back. We all had different ideas for what Kethris meant, and we all had to be the person to bring that about.
Does the Begum say anything?
Yes, he laughs faintly, and I think she's aware that what she's saying is very dangerous at this moment, but she says it anyway with the flippancy of an old woman who no longer cares. She turns to Mushfiq and looks directly at him, and she says, "Careful now, Mushfiq. What you describe sounds an awful lot like the dream of Iruvia."
Dream of Iruvia meaning
Meaning exactly the thing that your old Ustad got into, the idea of Uduasha as the leader of all the Iruvian cities, of one great nation, all fighting for one cause. Wow. And this is what she is. And she is absolutely provoking you by saying that.
I know it's a provocation, and I wait to see what Mushfiq says.
Yeah, it's a provocation, but provocation from an old lady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think Mushfiq maybe remembered something that Omid said to him and says that, "Oh, that's not for me to say. I'm not a politician, ma'am. Just a terrorist."
Yeah. Yeah. She says, yes, I suppose that's right. Either way, if we are to have a Kethris, I think it is important we all agree what it is. That much is true. It's just... It was easy when we were landowners. I knew where the borders of my land and my neighbor's land fell. I knew where my land ended and her land began. But this is not quite true if you want one Kethris. He exhales a puff of smoke thoughtfully. And he says, where do our responsibilities to one another begin and where do they end? I can't answer that.
I think one of the things that the Republic, not the Sublime Republic, but the Republic we want to start, one of the things it must answer are these questions. But I don't think we can answer them in abstract over here. We need to go back there. We need to sit down with people. We need to work it out. There's going to be a lot of pain and anger and bloodshed. So many centuries of oppression. So many centuries of bad blood. Someone needs to get it started and worked out in a way where we can have a Kethris instead of falling apart. What we can do now, I think, still in Uduasha, is work out a strategy for not what Kethris is, but how to get everyone together to answer this question. How we can tell people that this time we are fighting for our country, an actual country, and we fight for it, we win it, we get it all together, and we decide what it is as we do it. But we can't start breaking apart and factionalizing and being like, well, this idea is coming from these guys in Uduasha. Again, it's the Uduashans doing it, and that's fair. I don't live there. What the hell do I know? But I want to know, and I think I know that we have to fight. That we need not just this village or that village. We need people like you, Begum. We need landowners who want to listen. We need landowners who are dispossessed. A few people who are still perhaps struggling through. Because we know, we are under no illusions. We're going to be fighting a lot of landowners who don't want to listen. But not everyone. How can we, if the three of us can get together with our very different ideas, if you and Mushfiq Bhai can work out something that the two of you could have agreed on, so very different people with such different causes, then I think, I'm not saying that's going to be the solution, but we'll get somewhere. How can we convince, How can we get everyone on side? And I think that's the main thrust that he's here for.
Yeah. She takes another long puff of the hookah, and she says, well, it's a riddle, all right. But I suppose a few things unite us. We have a flag. That's something we can all share. Perhaps what we need next is an anthem. There may not be one Kethrisi language, but we are closer in speaking the same tongue than we are to anywhere else. Maybe that's what unites us. Words.
And then I think looking at Mushfiq to see if he has some input as well.
Yeah, I was thinking about it because I think it was the words, yeah. But what really unites us is the land, and because I think there's something unique about Kethrus's geography, right? Being it's a very particular sort of, leads to a very particular sort of lifestyle, and
Yeah.
and I think, like, I think I don't know what Mushfiq means by this, and I don't think he does either. But but it is thing that occurs to him is that we don't have the same interests, and we don't all even speak the same language, but we're connected through the land, the climate, the.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So,
She
And
smiles and she says, "We have that in common. We both do miss it."
Yeah. Should we have a roll now?
Yeah.
Some sort?
Sure. Now is a good time to do it.
I wonder what this should be. How about a group action concert?
Yeah. We could do that.
Mushfiq and myself. To kind of like see what we can put together that would be appealing to people. And then I have another idea afterwards, but that can wait.
Yeah, a group action consort. I think what will happen here, I think the logical thing to flow from this is that the Begum is talking about words and maybe an anthem, and Mushfiq is talking about the land. I think one possible thing that can happen here is that the Begum composes some poetry about Kethrus the land. Just like, it's streams, it's forests, the trees. Just like speaking to people about the land themselves. Yeah.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah. But I think that this is organically where we have arrived if we're talking about words and the land, right? So.
All right, let's fucking go. Let's see if this landowner can compose the national anthem.
Yes.
Of the people, not People's Republic.
Yes.
Yes, she can.
It's a 6.
Nice.
Nice. Okay, I'll roll as well then. See what we got. It's a 4. But it doesn't matter. Yeah. Someone failed.
One takeaway.
Yeah.
And I'll do something about that afterwards.
Okay.
But yes, excellent.
Yes.
I think this was a good scene.
Yeah.
Thank you for your patience, Salty and Tree.
No, it was great.
Yeah, it's a very cool. I like the scene. I like that you brought in the Begum. That's very, very neat. Okay, we've seen some downtime from everyone except from Clem. No, wait, Clem has actually also done a downtime action. Who hasn't done a downtime action yet? Mushfiq technically hasn't. He was participating in a group action. Yeah.
And okay, first of all, Mushfiq did get last time we got thrown through a building by Mr. Jacob and should heal up.
Yeah. Is he also going to Arin for this?
Yeah, great question. Hey man, do you want to see the guy who I just told you maybe,
I don't know anything about that, so
no.
Just goes in and get mad. What?
You should have Clem heal your wounds with erotic subtext.
I think it's interesting if this is just a conversation between Mushfiq and Arin, actually.
Just two men looking at each other.
So do the healing roll first, just to get it out of the way, so we know how the treatment goes.
How many dice am I rolling?
It's 3. It's 3 for Arin. Unless it's supernatural harm, then it's 4. I don't remember if this is supernatural harm or not.
No, just got thrown through a building.
Yeah.
Oh, a 6. Good job, Arin.
Okay, so it's 3 ticks. So Arin is very effective at this. So he treats your like bruises and so on, bandages you up, and I think he works in relative silence at first because he's just focused on things, lowering like the lenses that he has over his head. He has these like lenses that he flips up and down, and then he says, just kind of awkwardly because he's not a very smooth man in the middle of nothing, he just says like, you know, we've never really talked about our common experiences. Don't you think that's quite funny? We're both military sort of men, although I suppose the military experience must have been different. Did you have medics in your army?
Medics, I suppose there was, oh god, I keep coming up with names. Someone give me a name, quick. Any name. Have you no names? You have names? Give me a name.
Stethoscope Shamsur.
Stethoscope Shamsur, yes. Yeah, we did have
Oh my
Stethoscope Shamsur, who would chew up some weird plant root and spit it onto our wounds. Get him?
Yes, rustic. Arin says, folding his. Well, I just thought I ought to talk to you about it because, well, these sort of discussions, whereas how Clementine and I, you know, our friendship originally blossomed. You know, very different backgrounds. Clem comes from.
I think Mushfiq, so things we were talking about our medic friends, but shame about that. So Shamsur had his job blown clean off and wasn't much of a medic after that.
Yes, well, he says with his own artificial arm and leg, he goes like, thankfully, my being blown up was mostly fixable. Hopefully I'm still quite the medic even after being blown up. I hope you're not dissatisfied with my work.
I think Mushfiq is mostly bandages, right? Like,
yeah.
And through the bandages, it goes, oh no, this is exactly what I was looking for. Very comfortable.
Yes. Do you find that you get along well with Clem, despite your differences? I mean, your their experiences and yours must be as dissimilar as mine.
Oh, I love this so much.
Aadiyat, you should have Mushfiq roll study to see if he's figuring out what the hell's going on.
Yeah. This is good because Mushfiq has no points in study at all.
Yeah.
Fortune roll, I guess. So risk associated with.
Oh, come on! It's gotta be risky. What if Arin figures out that we're trying to figure him out?
Okay, fine.
Yes, let's go risky standard. Let's call it that.
No, it's
Man, what are you talking about?
It's a 4. So you figure him out, but the consequence is that he figures out that you are trying to figure him out. It's this classic whole thing.
It's apocalypse world. You read a person, you get to answer, but they get to read you too.
Yeah. So you get the sense of Arin's. I mean, Arin has a long history with Clem, right? Yeah. And a bond that perhaps was stronger. Like you can tell me if this is true, Clem, but I get the feeling a little bit that you guys were closer when you were actually in the military together, and then you didn't see each other for like a long time, and also you left him in a war zone.
Yeah.
So, Clem, is this how you originally drifted apart?
Oops daisies.
Yes.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, this is exactly my feeling. Like you had perhaps a very close relationship before that, and now you don't really talk about that, and it has left things kind of awkward. And I think, and Mushfiq, of course, what you pick up on is that Arin wishes it weren't so. Arin wishes that they could overcome this bridge this gap.
Okay, so Arin just wants to be friends with Clem again. Is that it, or no?
I think
or something more?
I think even he doesn't know, right?
Okay.
But he wants to get over this distance and get back to this whatever they once had. And I think Clem, you can define whatever it once was. But I get the feeling that it was to some degree like a more intimate relationship, right?
Right, and
actually, it is a 4. Clem, you define this. Mushfiq learns this. Why am I defining things? You tell me what Mushfiq learns.
Yeah, I think they weren't intimate. They were more intimate than they are now, but it wasn't romantic. It was the sort of I would die for you. The sort of I'd die for you, and then you'd have the scene where it'd be like, no, I'd die for you more, and then Clem went, okay, and
yeah,
he died. He died for them.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think the thing that is provoking Arin here is not necessarily that, like, okay, the romantic side of it. It's just that it's weird for him to see Clem have this sort of closeness with another person, right?
Why couldn't you make that effort with me, huh? Why did it have to be with somebody else who was like massively traumatized?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but Arin doesn't like. Does he want Mushfiq out of the way, or is he just needling for information, or like?
I think he's partly needling for information and also partly just trying to deal with this. And in fact, I think you succeeded. So maybe he comes clean in part. Maybe that's an interesting angle. And I think he just outright says, like, what you need to understand is that Clementine is a complicated person who primarily lives for the cause.
And Mushfiq says, "Out of what you need to understand is, I know that Clem's a complicated person because I don't really understand Clem."
Well, good. Well, good. That makes 2 of us then.
Yeah. But they're good in a pinch, and
oh, you're pinching already? That's what Bidrohi said the last time you said that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
So
Yes.
I assume this was Mushfiq remembering this, like your voice in his head.
Yeah.
And he shakes it out. It goes, I mean,
Sherakadam sir, you're already going to pinching. I think that's what it said.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh my god.
I think Arin looks at you and he folds away all of these like lenses and like maybe he even takes off his like clunky glasses that he uses to inspect wounds and he sets them down. And he sighs and he says, "They are good in a pinch until they aren't." And well, if you are the sort of person with whom they can have a more lasting relationship, then I confess to being very, very jealous of that. But I suspect that you are not, in which case I should warn you, you may also lose some limbs if you remain close to Clementine.
That's interesting because I don't think Mushfiq's ever thought of it this way, because most of Mushfiq's trauma comes from the person who let people down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, after a moment he says, oh, well, actually, what does he say? Let me think. I think he looks at Arin and goes, I didn't fight the war alone. There were quite a few of us in my little squadron, and I'm the only one left, and I was in charge. Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yes, I see. Well, my condolences.
I don't know about Clem, but and for years and years, well, not for years. I don't know how long I've been Winterfest. Well, for however long I've been here, I blame myself for everything that happened to my friends, and I thought that in their last moments they would have blamed me for what happened to them as well. And maybe I could have saved them all. Maybe I could have saved some of them, or maybe this is just I was meant to be, and it's a war. I can't.
Yes.
You can't predict how things go, and I don't know what happened between Clem and you, but when I'm fighting alongside Clem, I don't feel like I don't feel that that tension anymore. That it could all go south. I feel like I can let loose. I can fight. I can fight to my best, and that's about it. I think, and really, that's all I need.
Well, I suppose you found a kindred spirit then. I think I should say, just for your peace of mind, I was one of those soldiers left behind, and I did not blame Clementine. But if you have found a kindred spirit, I suppose I should say that some things are just in certain people's nature, and well, if you do lose any limbs as a result of Clem's actions, I shall be here to reattach them to the best of my ability, and I suppose some people destroy things, and some people, myself included, are fated to pick up the pieces and put them back together.
Man, Arin's really fucked up, huh?
Yes.
All he sees are bodies and things that need to be sewn back together. How about an ice cream, Arin?
Yeah, but he's also speaking metaphorically, in case that wasn't clear.
Oh no, sure, but like some metaphors are more are less metaphors and more, non-metaphors than one would like to admit.
I couldn't help but notice that his metaphor was not about ice cream.
Yeah, is the metaphor here that if Clem lets you down, we can be brooding like bros together? Just
no, the metaphor is that Arin has a crush on Mushfiq. Actually,
that's what I'm getting at. Okay.
I think
Mushfiq has two hands.
Yeah, I think also Arin is just kind of trying to warn you.
Mushfiq does not have two hands, actually.
I think Arin is also just trying to warn you that Clem is a dangerous person to get close to, and he doesn't blame Clem for that, but it's just the way it is, This is. Yeah. So a long, awkward silence follows, I think, and then he says, "Well, anyway, you're fit as a fiddle. Now."
So Mushfiq gets up, and I think as he's dusting himself up, and he says that I get a feeling that you might not have spoken to Clem about any of this.
Well, no.
No.
We haven't really spoken about the incident. It just seems impolite.
It seems impolite. Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Like, remember that time you left me behind in a battlefield and I almost died?
And then we met up and then just aggressively didn't talk about it?
Yes. Yeah.
I think Mushfiq goes, okay, tell you what, I'll bring it up with them, and we'll be sure to sort this right out.
I'm sure you will. Now, if you excuse me, I have excuses to attend to. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course. And I also had my thing.
Yeah.
You do have a thing. Saeeda has called you to dinner.
Yes. And I think that's a good place to wrap up this scene. Here close the doors to the House of Endings. Those who dwell within are Zoheb, called Klow, Aadiyat, called Soap, Soumithri, called Tree, and Salty. I have been Prince, your host. Our city of Uduasha is based on Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions, with special thanks to Johnstone Metzger. Follow us on Twitter or support us on kofi.com/desperateattune. If you want to engage further with us, we also have a Patreon at patreon.com/desperateattune, where you will get our newsletter, extra content, and updates from Uduasha.
On the next Desperate Attune.
Can you see the sea from Kethris?
It is difficult not to.
And can you see the coasts of other places from Kethris as well? Kind
It
of
is somewhat
on
difficult to. You can, yes.
on the horizon. Those other places, those other lives you might never touch. They have a worth to them all of their own.